Today, we're going to load into the firing range so that we could run a quality check on the fast mag. What the f? Alright, so now let's go ahead and test the fast mag on the Marksman rifle and see what... Hey guys, Nightfall here, and we're back with another XDefiant attachment quality check. This time, we're going to be looking at the fast mag for all weapon classes except for shotguns, because shotguns don't use mags. Totally knew that before today. Also, you might notice some enhancement to these types of videos that we've added the in-game stats for each weapon at your request, but also especially this time because the fast mag does slightly different things for some of the classes, so it's good to have that up. I also added some fancy text in the middle to help identify some extra things like the test we're using, the expected result based on what the game tells us, and the actual result, and also a pass or fail. And a huge shout out to fellow Discord member for hooking us up with an awesome new timer that will help with more accurate results. Didn't want to post their Discord name or profile picture on here because I don't want to out them if they don't want to be outed, but you know who you are, and if you want, leave a comment down below and you'll definitely earn my pin. And that's a great segue into telling you all about our new Discord. And I don't know how much longer I can call it new, but it's still new-ish and you should join. It's a great community to be a part of and we're growing every day. Also be sure to follow me over on Twitter and follow all the chaos that ensues over there. Also, the microphone that you're hearing me on now is microphone 2 from my other video that I used you all as guinea pigs. And I appreciate that. And I've made huge improvements and fixes to a lot of things in the filters I was using with it that I didn't even realize was wrong with it when I did that video. And if you're wondering, this is a Shure MV7 Plus, and it was number 2 on that test, and it was very, very expensive. So those of you that commented that microphone 1 sounded better really hurt my heart and my wallet, but I hope it's all cleared up now and it sounds phenomenal to you all watching. But you may have also noticed I've been walking around in the abyss here for a minute, and I have no clue how this happened. I just loaded up the game to start testing the fast mag and bam. So I played around for a minute just because, but enough of that, let's get into the video. So up first we have our ACR on the ADS speed test, and we can see that it is slower, and taking the base ADS speed we should expect to have seen an actual ADS speed of 0.322, but instead we got a 0.359. And keep in mind that these are not 100% perfect tests, as it's really hard to narrow down the exact frame of certain things. So this is within what I would call an acceptable range. So overall, I'll give it a pass on this test. And moving over to the reload speed test for the ACR, we should have expected a result of 1.386 with the fast mag in order for it to be 40% faster, and our actual test shows it's a little slower than that at 1.51, but again, within the acceptable range, so we'll give this a pass as well. Now, based on the stats here, you can also see that it does reduce ADS flinch control on some of these weapons. We will not be testing that because on most weapons, it doesn't matter. And also because we currently have no accurate way of testing that. Maybe when they bring customs in the game, we can find a way of doing that. But until then, we're going to leave that out of this test and all future tests. Also, the mag size does increase by 5 on this weapon, and that's slightly different on some of the other classes. And I might forget to mention this throughout the rest of the video, but wherever it says that it increases the mag size, I did double check that just to be sure, and they all passed that. So that won't be included in the tests that we're running here, as those are all visual things that any of you can see in the game. But let's move on to the SMGs, and we're going to be using the MP7 for this test, and we can see that they're the exact same speed as far as ADS speed, even though our expected result should have been 0.219. And while that is a very small amount and normally what I would consider within an acceptable range, because it is the exact same, this one's going to be a fail. But it's a fail in a good way, in that it doesn't harm your ADS speed like it says. But in our quality check, it's still a fail. But let's look at the reload speed test on this, and this is a crazy fast reload time with and without the fast mag. But our expected result should have been 1.191, and our actual result is a little higher at 1.218, but again, still within that acceptable range. So we'll move on and let this one pass. And before we move on to the LMG testing,
we interrupt this program to bring you
90% of you that watch my videos aren't subscribed.
What is up with that?
Granted, this is much better than the 97% that it was just last week, but let's get those numbers up. If you enjoy the content and appreciate the work and time that I put into these videos, please consider subscribing. It costs you less than it does to save those starving children each day, so you can still do that and subscribe. Now back to your regularly scheduled programming. Now moving on to the LMGs and running our ADS test shows us that it is the exact same time. So wasting no time here, same as the SMG ADS speed test, because it is the exact same time, it is a fail, but it's a good fail. And then here's where things start to change up a little bit with the reload speed test. On the LMG, it's supposed to be 75% faster. So let's take a look at that. And our expected result should have been 2.257, but we got a 2.481. And for that one, I'm going to have to say fail because it's a whole 0.2 seconds or more over what we should have expected. And even though, like I said, it's hard to determine frames when editing these, reload speed is pretty accurate for the most part, given that I take the moment the crosshair disappears on screen when starting the reload animation and start the timer at that moment, and then stop it at the exact frame that it comes back. But let's go ahead and keep moving on to our Marksman rifles. And again, with the ADS speed, we follow the same trend, with it being slightly slower than we should have been expecting, but again, within an acceptable range. So we're going to give it a pass here. So let's push on to the reload speed test for the Marksman class, and we can see here that it once again is slightly over our expectation, but still within range, so we'll give this one a pass as well. And now for our final class to test, the sniper rifles, and I wanted so badly to test this on my L115 because that's the one I use the most, but I just didn't have the time to level it up high enough, so we had to use the TAC 50 here. And I mean, this one is almost dead on, as close as you could get to the expectation. So it's going to get a super pass here. And then the final test, the reload speed, and it is very, very close to the expectation again. So overall, sniper is a pass. So overall, this attachment does pass our quality check, but is it the right mag for you? Well, a lot goes into that, and I'm never going to be the one to tell you how to build your weapon. But if you find yourself dying mid-reload a lot, especially with something like an LMG, you might want to consider throwing this bad boy on there, but just be careful when you're using other attachments that also slow down your ADS speed. 10% isn't too noticeable, as we've seen here, maybe even 2 attachments with 10% with the way that it stacks. But any more than that, I wouldn't risk it. I hope these tests and information help you make the best weapon build for you. Keep on that camo grind or ranked grind if you're into that kind of torture, and I'll catch you in the next upload.